To South Africa now, where tributes continue to come in for Muhsin Hendricks, dubbed the world's first openly gay Imam. He was shot dead in broad daylight on Saturday in the city of Gqeberha, formerly known as Port Elizabeth. CCTV footage showed a hooded figure exiting a pickup truck and firing shots at a car that Mr. Hendricks was in. Authorities say they are hot on the heels of the killer, but it's too early to say if it was a hate crime. Muhsin Hendricks made headlines when he came out in 1996. He went on to start a foundation for queer Muslims, as well as establishing an inclusive mosque in Cape Town. The killing has caused shockwaves in South Africa's LGBTQ community. Many gay people still face discrimination and violence in South Africa, despite the country's constitution being the first in the world to protect sexual minorities. Our correspondent, Nomsa Masejo, in Johannesburg, looks back at his life.
Muhsin Hendricks was known as the world's first openly gay Imam. He challenged traditional views of Islam and created a space for LGBTQ+ Muslims. The 57-year-old came out as gay in 1996 and founded the Inner Circle, a network that offered support to queer Muslims. He also ran a mosque that was a refuge for gay and other marginalised Muslims, addressing mental health and traumas faced by the LGBTQ+ people within religious communities. Despite laws that protect from discrimination, gay people in South Africa still face discrimination and violence. In a previous BBC interview, Hendricks admitted to fearing for his life, but said the need to be authentic and true to oneself was greater than the fear of death. His organization, Gqeberha Foundation, confirmed that he was shot dead in a targeted attack in the coastal town of Gqeberha, Eastern Cape Province. His killing has sent shockwaves through the LGBTQ+ community and beyond, with many remembering him for his courage and leadership. Nomsa Masejo, BBC News, Johannesburg.
And joining me now from Johannesburg is Kayan Leung, the head of the Gender Equality Program at Lawyers for Human Rights in South Africa. Kayan, thank you so much for your time. Maybe you could first begin by telling us, are the circumstances under which Imam Hendricks died any clearer today?
Good evening to your viewers. So the latest reports from the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development in communication with the Department of Police, South African Police Service, has said that they are, as you say, hot on the heels on the investigation. And at this point, still the motivation behind the killing is unclear and still yet to be established. But at this stage, they cannot still say that it is a hate crime.
Well, as a queer rights activist, how difficult was it for him to practice as an imam?
I think Imam Muhsin Hendricks has faced a difficult environment that, within the context of South Africa, we still have a state where we operate, and while we have freedom of religion, there are different opposing views within the space. And so I can imagine that he would have faced numerous challenges in the work that he did.
Has there been any reaction so far, specifically from the Council of Imams of South Africa?
So there have been two related councils that have actually condemned the killing. And I think as any organization and the broader civil society, we do condemn this, and we must take and encourage that the rule of law take place and full investigation must take place to ensure that there is justice and accountability for this incident.
I mean, there have been some concerns around whether this may have been a hate crime, whether he was targeted because he was a gay man. I mean, what do the statistics show you with some of the work that you do around, sexual minorities generally being targeted in South Africa?
Sure. I think one of the challenges currently, and this is why civil society has been advocating for the recently signed hate crimes and hate speech legislation, is that there's limited and inconsistent documentation of hate crimes. And at the moment, we're still waiting for the regulations of this piece of legislation to make it commence. Currently, the hate crime data that we speak about is relied on through various organizations, and what we have seen in studies between 2013 and 2017, there were 394 incidences of LGBT incidents of hate crime. In a recent 2023 study, it noted that 4 out of 10 LGBT South Africans know of someone who has either been murdered for being associated or suspected of being a member of the community. So there is certainly a recent increase of spikes of incidences against the community.
Could you also speak to us a bit about gun crime in the city of Gqeberha in Eastern Cape? And of course, some of the statistics, for example, from 2024 showed it had some of the highest rates. What else can you tell us?
I think we definitely can confirm the general incidences of violent crimes and crime in general in South Africa is a concern. So gun crime within Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape is certainly worrying. And I think there should be better regulation of gun control in this area.
Well, Kayan Leung, thank you so much for your time and for speaking with us on the program. The head of the Gender Equality Program at Lawyers for Human Rights in South Africa, joining us on the program.